Guys, welcome to another episode of Discovering Cinema. Tonight we're starting a new series, multiple episodes. We're
That
going to be
fucking
talking
hat, dude.
we're going to be talking about our top 10 favorite directors. Tonight we're doing 10 through 8. Next week we'll probably do 7 through 5. But tonight I got my good friend Ryan, and we're here to talk about Chris Rock, Will Smith at the Oscars. What's your feelings, Ryan?
I think too many people have talked about this, and I think it's a shit situation.
I think
Obviously, because we are involved with films. What's going on, Sardis? We pretty much have to at least make a short comment on it. The situation is dumb as hell. I think it's ridiculous that somebody was allowed to literally walk on stage and assault somebody and then just sit back down and chill.
Yep.
And then on top of that, win an award that night. Like, I understand his performance is deserving of the award, but they should not have been able to just go sit back down. Sarda says it looks like you're wearing Kurosawa's hat.
I don't know who that is. I'm Amish.
And then the whole situation. I don't know. Like, the joke was very tame in my mind. I think it's ridiculous to think that any comedian up there should be held accountable for not knowing what somebody's medical situation is in the audience. So I don't know. I think it's dumb to keep talking about this too, though.
I think that Jada is a bald-headed bitch.
All right, so we've had a good run, guys.
I'm just kidding. No, I hate that this is turning into a culture.
Yeah,
like I think that's the dumbest shit. Like Jeremy Long, our good friend, posted a really thoughtful reaction to it. It was very long, and one of the comments was just a woman being like, "White men, sit down with your opinion" or something. I was like, "What the fuck? Why?"
I do agree with Sardis. I think we've spent some time on it, and I think that that's good. Let's jump into some other things. Do you have any pickups for this week?
Yeah, I do. I went ahead and picked up every movie Will Smith's been in. So I got Wild Wild West. I got Suicide Squad. David Ayer's Suicide Squad. Hell yeah. No, I picked up Kingdom. So I have seen this. I rewatched it last night actually. This is weird. You want to talk about culture war and racism? This is Japanese people playing Chinese people. It's like Asian blackface. It's based on a manga, which also got an anime adaptation. It takes place during the Warring States period of China's history, and it is a literal like one-for-one adaptation of like the first, I want to say like volume of manga. It's like 2 hours, 15 minutes, and it's like a damn near perfect adaptation. So some of the stuff's going to come off a little goofy if you're not a fan of anime or manga, but I think it does a really good job. It got a sequel that's supposed to come out this summer. So
interesting.
Yeah, so it came out like right at the tail end of 2019, right before the pandemic. And for Japanese movies, it made $54 million domestically in their country, which is unheard of.
Huge.
This manga is always like number 2, number 3 bestsellers of the year. It's one of the only top 10 most sold mangas that hasn't gotten an English adaptation yet. Like there's no, but I do read scans of it weekly. It comes out weekly. It's like 600 sub chapters now. It's fucking crazy. But what I love about the manga, which this movie hasn't gotten to the point in the manga where it does this, but it shows you like the strategy of like the actual like battles and like the people behind like moving all the pieces. Like, hey, we should attack from this angle, from this side. But it's solid. It's a solid movie. It's got some really good spectacle, and if you can get past the goofiness, because the goofiness is very, very much ripped right from the manga. And then I got the Ninja Trilogy. So this is Shokasugi. Got Enter the Ninja, Revenge of the Ninja, Ninja 3, the Domination, or the Dominion. No, it's
I feel like you
Domination.
sent me the picture of that like 2 weeks ago already.
I said this to you like Thursday, I think.
Right.
These have Blu-rays from Kino, but not that many special features. This is a Eureka release, and it's got a lot of special features. So
Eureka
happy to have this.
DVDs.
Yeah, Eureka DVDs. And I'm not one of those guys that's like, I'll never buy DVDs again. Half my collection.
Like I am.
Yeah. Yeah, you. And then I got the seminal classic Talons of the Eagle. Just extraordinary. So glad that we have this. Jola Marie accepted my friend request on Facebook. So that's cool. I asked Billy Blanks to be my friend, but he didn't uh, accept it yet. But we are friends, so I'm friends with Joel. There's a friend of mine's movie. Uh,
we have lots of comments on your hat already.
Yeah. So
Jeremy called you Skip.
Oh, what's going on, Jeremy?
Skip, did you just get back from your audition for Jumanji 3?
Yes, and I killed it. I'm gonna be the fat guy. As someone who's struggling with baldness after Will Smith's comments, I was very upset. Or Chris Rock's comments, so I wanted to wear a hat to cover it up. Got the 4K.
Nice.
I think it's so funny. I just sold my Blu-ray copy 3 months ago for a lot of money. This comes out. This gets announced. So, shouts out to that guy, whoever did that. Easter Promises, which we talked about this. I think I love this movie.
About to drop on 4K, or just did drop on 4K.
It just did. I don't know. I bought. I don't know. Who gives a fuck? A Time for Dying.
Oh, nice.
Bud Bedecker. Indicator. This and Mag Dog Morgan, which their belly band does not stay on. It wasn't taped on or anything. So
it is an odd size on that one.
It's very weird.
Yeah.
It's literally just like this, and there's no like tape or anything. Yeah, I'm getting into like Australian or Aussie Western
Ozploitation.
Ozploitation, but specifically like Westerns, like The Proposition and this. Dennis Hopper, you could tell he is obliterated drunk in the whole movie. He is fucked up, and I don't know why I picked this. I must have just grabbed this from the pile, but I watched The Killing.
Another one about to come out on 4K.
Pretty good movie. This Spielberg guy. I don't know. Keep an eye out for him.
We got a comment just a minute ago from Sardis says, I love Deep Red, still watching the extras. Speaking of, you supposedly were getting into Giallo. Is that still the case?
Unfortunately.
Did you get any in yet?
Nope.
What is the first wave that you ordered then?
All the Arrow 4Ks, including Pneumonia.
Wow.
And then Yellow Box 1 2.
Nice.
Can't wait to be disappointed.
Well, I mean, both of those Yellow boxes, you obviously had 0 of them. If you have 0 of them, those are really good boxes to get into.
I think so, yeah. I think so too. Arrow's so weird because I wanted to get the Sergio Martino box, but that's a flimsy box and not a hard box like the two Giallos.
Yep.
So I was like, I'll just get the singles. I don't know. But Sergio Martino's not really my cup of tea. I'm not a big fan of his directing in general. So
I could understand that. But I'm glad we're talking about directors tonight. No, I literally have 0 pickups to talk about.
I got one more. I forgot. It's a big son of a bitch. Oh,
Jesus!
I forgot. This thing is stupid. It's stupid. This is stupid big. Really good movie. I don't know if you ever heard of.
No, not a once.
This Francis Ford Coppola guy.
I don't remember. Did we talk about it? Are you happy with that release? Because a lot of people are pretty upset.
No. I called you. All of my discs. So there was how many discs? There's like 5 discs, I think, in this set. 5 or 6. All of them were out and loose, except for 2, and the other 2 were backwards. Like whoever put them in the case put them in backwards. So, not happy with the release. The book, I was expecting more background on the movies. I was expecting it's just mostly pictures. Which, hey, I can look at Al Pacino from the 70s and 80s all day. Perfect person. But, yeah, pretty disappointed in that set. I wish I would have just got the standard. honestly.
especially at the price point. Like
Yeah, price point.
I think it's going for 140 pretty much everywhere. Like that's the standard price. I think Amazon had it at 106 at the lowest for a little while, but even then, I feel like 106 is a little high. I feel like it probably should be like 80, 85.
It's one of my immediately when I got it, I was like, why did I own I own the other Blu-ray limited edition, I own the DVD limited edition. Why did I? There's something in my DNA that draws me to these movies. I don't know.
I will go ahead and talk about a recent watch then, one that I haven't talked about anywhere else. And I finally watched the A24 special edition release of The Last Black Man in San Francisco. And this movie is freaking beautiful. It is, as somebody not from San Francisco, but from California, and I've been there a handful of times and really appreciated it. It is shot beautifully. It is one of those films that has sort of a meandering narrative. It's not. It's like a slice of life film, not lice. That is only just a portion of time, and not really something that has a beginning, middle, and end that are super necessary. But the acting in this film is like borderline stupid. It shouldn't be possible for two people to be this good that have never done anything else. It is crazy what they were able to achieve in this film. It is a little long, but I really never got bored, and it's super well made. So if you get a chance, I highly suggest people check out Last Black Man in San Francisco. It does have a regular Blu release. You don't have to buy the fancy 4K or ridiculous storybook release that they have, but it is a great movie.
I will probably never watch that, but I'm happy that you are very happy with that release. You've been talking about that release a lot, about how
well, it's fairly new. Yeah,
is it really new?
And then yeah, it came out a few months ago. The hard part, I went to watch it, and I looked at it just probably a month ago, and if you look, there's already something you can kind of see wrong there. I don't know if the camera's picking that up. I turned it to the side. It is fucked beyond belief, and it was just in the case. This whole page is shot, essentially. I don't know how. It was in a hard case, and it was fine when I put it away. So I don't understand it. And it sucks because it's actually decent and important art for the movie. So this whole side is just shot.
Is that the best thing you like?
Is that the best thing I like?
Sorry, I was reading Jeremy's comment is it the best thing that you've watched this week?
That I haven't already reviewed on my channel or anything, yes. I will say, for those that haven't watched the video on my channel, John Peters really talked this up, but this movie, The Brute, I don't think I talked about this last week. This movie is fucking incredible. I may have talked about it last week because it's so good.
I watched your review. Great review. You should do that format more. The 3 quick reviews. It's great.
I might.
It's great. I watched a John Cusack movie, Never Grow Old from 2019, 2018. It's got Emil Hirsch.
Good.
It's good. I was pleasantly shocked. It's not great. The John Cusack movie from 2019 or whatever. It's basically an allegory of St. Patrick, like the story of St. Patrick and how he drove snakes out of Ireland. It's a Western. John Cusack is the villain, and he does a really good job. But there are a little on the nose with the St. Patrick shit. Like, Cusack calls him St. Patrick every chance he gets. Some of the writing, the whole concept is good. I think the actors are good. I think Emil Hirsch, John Cusack are good. Just some of the writing and a little bit of the editing was a little off. Like, it kept it from being a great movie, but it's a solid movie. Like, it's worth a watch. It's on Amazon Prime for free. It's called Never Grow Old. I think the ending is fucking. Can I spoil the ending of this movie that no one's gonna watch because it's got John Cusack in it?
I mean, a lot of people might watch it. You never know. I mean, for a perfect example, Sardis just said, finish the first 2 seasons of The Shield. The show is incredible. We've been hyping up The Shield for like the last 6 months. And a whole bunch of people, Fu included, has started watching it.
I started watching Chickless's other show, Coyote.
I've not seen that.
He plays a ex-border agent who starts working with the cartel. It's not very good. they've renewed it for like a third season.
I didn't even know it had a second
Paramount,
season.
man. They don't have much except for Taylor Sheridan.
Is it a Paramount Plus show only?
It's a Paramount Plus show, yep. Oh, talking about Paramount, I watched Jackass Forever last night.
What'd you think?
I gave it 5 stars and I said this is the Citizen Kane of my generation.
So many penises.
Dude, the opening shot was like, is that I called it too. I go, that's Chris Pontius, this cock. And I don't know what that says about me as a person, that I've seen so much of Chris Pontius' cock throughout my life that I've recognized it, even dressed up as Godzilla. Man, just it feels so weird and good to still have the same sense of humor I did. Like,
right. I agree.
I was watching it and howling, and I was like, man, I'm 30. I shouldn't be enjoying this as much, but I love it. I gotta say that the very morbidly obese man, Zach, he's
the guy who got famous on YouTube.
Yeah, no fear. That dude's like, fuck it. Like when he's in that room with the tacks and the mousetraps, he goes, fuck it, and just climbs over it. But what a guy. I loved him. I asked Taylor to watch it with me. She was like, no, I'm not gonna watch it with you.
Why? It's so much fun.
I told my mom, because my mom loves those movies. Like my mom and my nonna, my grandmother doesn't speak English. Proper Catholic woman loves that shit. But with Jackass 2, when they drink the horse cum, I've never seen my mom. She levitated off the couch, flipped over, ran into the kitchen, and vomited. Like I've never seen her vomit so fast. So I said, hey guys, by the way, because they use my Amazon account. I was like, hey, we have Paramount Plus on it. Jackass is on there. And my mom and dad were like, awesome, we're going to watch it. I go, warning, there's a few moments where there's 15 gallons of pig cum on screen. They're drinking it, pouring it on each other. And my mom was like, thanks for the heads up. Because she was like, she just had mouth surgery, so she's already fucked up. I cannot imagine her watching it and then just being like, bleh, so. But yeah, great. Fucking great movie.
We have a Bear the Bean from Twitch saying hello. I love when we get some random ass Twitch viewer.
I love that name, Bear the Bean.
And then Sardis says, I finally saw Pig, not what I expected. I want to know what Sardis expected.
Dude, I was expecting John Wick. I literally was expecting that.
That's kind of how they marketed it.
That's kind of, and then like there's like this huge tension, right? Like this, there's a tension built up throughout that entire movie. You know what edging is, right? When someone edges, it's edging the movie because you get to that fucking Fight Club scene and you're like, oh man, this is it. We're gonna see some violence, and then nothing happens. You're like, oh, and then you keep going and keep going and keep going, and then at the end you're like, you're gonna see some violence. Beautiful. It's like an anti-revenge movie. I love it. But yeah, do you want to talk about our directors?
Sure. How about you go first this week with your number 10?
So number 10, I am picking
as we're doing this, by the way, we're going to talk about the director, why we like them, and then we're going to pick like 3 or 4 movies from the director just to highlight, share a little bit about our experience, and we're gonna dive deep into some of these for sure.
Yes. Number 10 is a director that I love, and I had to include him because when I was thinking of like, oh man, my favorite directors, there's a guy that I don't talk enough about, but I do love, and that is Fernando de Leo. A lot of Eurocrime is looked at as trashy cinema, very much like spaghetti westerns were looked at as trashy cinema until Sergio Leone came in and made the Dollars trilogy. He is like the Sergio Leone of Eurocrime. We all know Flip has Spielberg at number 1. Yes, Jaws, best movie ever. Can't wait to watch it.
I love that thumbnail for tonight.
What? Oh yeah, Ryan texted me. You're not gonna say anything with Spielberg next to Kurosawa, and I just go, who?
I'll tell you who Kurosawa is later.
You know, in some alternate universe, there's a Flip that just hates Asian movies, and just loves musicals. And he was like, West Side Story.
How do you like Seven Samurai, Ryan? Let's talk about West Side Story.
Oh man, yeah. And then you're me with a. Oh man, this is gonna be great. He did he did a trilogy called the Malou trilogy. It's Caliber 9, Italian Connection, probably his most popular movie, and then The Boss. But in these box sets, you get Rulers of the City, you get you get Naked Violence, Shoot First, Die Later, and Kidnap Syndicate. If you are to get one of these, get the first box set. I think these are mandatory viewing for Eurocrime movies. Caliber 9 has a standalone from Arrow in the UK. Yeah, standalone like single.
Is that, like very old?
I think it's a dual format Arrow. I think it's a dual format. Yeah.
Damn.
It's old. But Raro put this out. There is like a little tiny booklet included. It's not very big, but it does have some. It does got like some nice essays and stuff on it. And if you have tried Eurocrime and it hasn't been your thing, like if you bought the Arrow box set, because even though I like that box set, the picks that they chose were a couple of them are very trashy.
Right.
They're very much exploitation. It's just like spaghetti westerns.
And again, there may be a volume 2. We don't know yet, but there could be.
There has to be. But yeah, this box set I think is essential. I love it. When I dug it back out, I was like, you know what? I'm going to rewatch the Malou trilogy again. Caliber 9, my personal favorite. Italian Connection is probably what he's most known for. And then Absolutely. The Boss has a killer Henry Silva role in it. Like he just nails it. So that's my number 10.
I remember I think it's Shoot First, Die Later that I really liked.
Yeah, that one's more of that one has like I don't want to say horror tinge. But to bring it back to the Dollar trilogy, he wrote the first two. He's written over 50 scripts. So before he was even directing. So that's probably why I would say he's like the Leone of the Dollar trilogy, because he wrote the first two. But yeah, I highly recommend Fernando De Leo.
Speaking of Eurocrime, Hilton says Umberto Lenzi is the king of Eurocrime, and although Flip does not agree, I will say, and this is going to be a really, really awful way to throw in a plug here, but I have a sale going on my merch for the Disconnected this week, and I have a new shirt up that says "Live, Laugh, Lenzi," and it is fucking hilarious. You can get 10% off. That link is in all of my socials.
So here's the thing: is that I love Lenzi, and I can see why people like it's. It's literally a toss-up between those two. I don't think that person's wrong. It's very much how like everyone loves Leone, but I think Sergio Corbucci is a better Sergio. So it's literally like they're hand in hand, like they are tied. I think DeLeo and Lenzi are both tied, but I do think DeLeo has more Eurocrime output, and that trilogy is just so fucking good, like so artful. So.
Well, and with Lenzi, I think. I haven't seen all of them, so this may be a very wrong statement to make, but I feel like his highs are probably higher, but his lows are lower as well. And for somebody to be more consistent, sometimes that would make them a better director, depending on who you're asking.
Who's your number 10, my friend?
My number 10 is a director that I actually mentioned, I think, last week when we were talking about coming-of-age films. And I don't know which one to highlight here first, but I generally really love Richard Linklater. Richard Linklater is my number 10. The three I went with is I know we talked about this last week. Dazed and Confused, one of the best films of all time. It captures an era that it takes a lot to be able to get a feeling right like this, and that is probably my number one thing about Linklater is everything captures a feeling that is like it almost should be out of reach how good you are able to jump in, and that includes my second choice, which is the Before trilogy. And obviously this is cheating a little bit because it's 3 films in one, but first off, I adore Ethan Hawke, and the obviously the experimentation of filming the way that they did for this is mind-blowing and fantastic, but the Before trilogy is, even if you take that away, it is an achievement just based on the dialogue. Richard Linklater and the way that they wrote these is able to capture realistic dialogue that almost feels surreal in a way. And I love this to a point that I probably shouldn't. And then the last one that I want to highlight is when, have a good night, Jeremy.
Good night, Jeremy. Love you.
When you're talking about Richard Linklater, obviously you're going to talk about the big ones like that, but a lot of people forget that he did School of Rock. And School of Rock, Richard Linklater directed School of Rock.
That's a classic.
And it's not just a classic either. It captures that feeling that is juvenile but successful and built on something that makes you want to be a part of it. And it captured the zeitgeist in such a perfect way. And really, I feel like this is one of the main things that catapulted Jack Black to like superstardom, in the way that he is a perfect person basically for everything that he jumps into. Tenacious D, all of his social media presence even is freaking top notch. Yeah, Jack Black is great. Richard Linklater has made some incredible films. Stendhal Syndrome says, did you like A Scanner Darkly? No, I loved it. I think it's great. I think that it is, again, the fact that he's able to experiment and grab onto an experiment in such a way that you can tell he's all in. And a lot of people, when they experiment, you can feel that like their toes are in the water and that's it. And because of that, a lot of those they fall flat. But A Scanner Darkly is the perfect example of it. It's groundbreaking, and it feels groundbreaking as you're watching it, and not just obviously because the visuals are different, but it is so well made in a way where you just want to be a part of it. It's beautiful.
I'm actually shocked that you put him at number 10, considering how much in the past that you have said his movies mean to you. So
yep.
That's I cannot wait to see who's number 1. I'm anxiously waiting the weeks that we take to get there. Dazed and Confused is, like you said, one of the best movies ever.
It really is.
For a kid who grew up an only child, was lonely all the time, that movie was on a lot because it's the perfect hangout movie. You feel like you're just hanging out with a bunch of buds, and made me want to go live in the 70s. And I asked my dad, I'm like, was school really like this? He's like, yeah, it was really.
And then the cool thing, like for me, at the age that they portrayed it, when they did Boyhood, a lot of that really hit home because I came from a, not to use a stereotypical term, but a broken home. And, the whole visitation and growing up with Ethan Hawke being sort of a piece of shit and living through the 90s and early 2000s in a way that showed like that, it was just a perfect way to grab onto with a different era. He just grows with everything.
But unwatched, to say I heart School of Rock as much as I heart. Oh, thanks, Jeremy. But I don't know if you like it. That's a weird comment. Okay, so Dave says, okay, for how far up the list they are going to have Michael Bay and Roland Emmerich. Just wait.
What's your number 9, my friend?
Number 9. It feels bad putting a director of this caliber at number 9. But he makes movies that are so emotionally gripping, stories that are just so hard to get through because of the content, that he doesn't have a lot of replayability for me. But every movie he's ever done has left a mark on me, and that is Park Chan-wook. This is the Vengeance trilogy. Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance, Old Boy, Lady Vengeance. But outside of this, I mean, that Thirst is a Thirst, right? Where it's his vampire movie.
Romantic vampire movie too.
Romantic vampire movie that is actually like a critique on religion. Really, really well done. And it came out, I think that movie gets overlooked because it came out right around the like Twilight craze. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people just dismissed it as a Twilight vampire movie, but what they're missing is like what a very thought-provoking movie. JSA even is a critique on war, and also The Handmaiden. Just what's so funny, sir?
Boofer thought his top 4, he says, is Woody Allen, Roman Polanski, Bryan Singer, and Brett Ratner.
Oh man.
Oh man.
You might want my favorite actors to go along with that list would be Kevin Spacey, would be uh, God, Bill Cosby, um, Will Smith.
What's going on, Cam?
There, what's going on, buddy? But yeah, Park Chan Wook is just an incredible storyteller. His just the way he directs is just impeccable. But like I said, every one of those movies has something that is just so hard to stomach. Like Lady Vengeance about children getting killed, and having to go and get the parents rounded up to show them how their child died is just so fucking heart wrenching. So yeah, I really enjoy his movies, but they are tough. And Old Boy, if you haven't seen Old Boy and you don't know the twist, I'm not gonna twist it. That's one thing I won't spoil. When you see that for the first time, it's such a disgusting feeling that you're gonna get. And yeah, just no one makes as beautiful movies as him. And he's supposed to be directing a Western written by S. Craig Zoller, which might not happen now. Yeah, did you not know about this?
No.
S. Craig Zoller famously did Bone Tomahawk, did Dragged Across Concrete, Brawl, stuff like that. He wrote a script called The Brigands of something, and it's on his website. You can read the script. It's a phenomenal script. It's about a group of bandits who raid and destroy a town with the cover of a storm, like helping them do it so no one can hear. It's an incredible script. Amazon bought the rights to it. They were going to have Park Chan Wook direct it. It was going to star Matthew McConaughey. No news in like 3 or 4 years. So I don't know if that's still happening. Park's doing something else. He just announced like a new drama that he's directing. So I don't know if that Western is still happening, but I would love to see his style in a Western setting, especially with the violence that S. Craig Zoller writes and directs. I just hope that script gets made. But that is my number 9.
The travel restrictions around COVID could have been some problems for that, for sure.
Yeah, easily. Yeah. Seto says Polanski is a good filmmaker, though. I don't like Rosemary's Baby much.
I don't like it very much either. I think the directing in that film is phenomenal, but I think for me the script is just not there. I've liked some of Polanski's other stuff more.
Like what? Like what's your go-to? The Pianist?
I mean, it's good. Let me pull up a list before I say my go-to. That is.
What is like the essential Polanski list?
I mean, isn't it called the Apartment Trilogy? I think that's what it's called.
Is that just places where he's fucked kids at?
Jesus fucking Christ. No, it's The Tenant, Rosemary's Baby, and Repulsion. Repulsion is the one that I go to. That's a good movie.
So, I mean, to briefly bring up Chris Rock again.
No.
You said that you were shocked that he wasn't escorted out. The Academy gave a standing ovation to Polanski. So I'm not shocked at all by him not getting escorted out. I sat my fat ass down and knocked over a bunch of shit. That's always fun, right?
Yes. I guess we should do my number 9 then.
Yeah, number 9.
My number 9 is one that was always there in my childhood, and this is one that hit at that perfect age for me in a way that kind of formulated my tastes in, leaning towards the gothic, the dark, the sometimes horror, the like the stylized, hyper stylized versions of his film that I just always go to as comfort food. And he's even got a few that I would say are perfect films. One of them being Tim Burton's Beetlejuice.
Yes.
And I adore everything that Tim Burton has made for the most part. There's a couple that I'm not a huge fan of, but first of all, Beetlejuice holds up like crazy. This is still a literal perfect film. I think that it is perfectly acted. I think that it is perfectly casted. Castellanos. I think that the setting that they got in that is ridiculous. It looks great in 4K. It is just a wonderful original story. And speaking of that, one that doesn't get talked about enough when it comes to Tim Burton, next pick would be Big Fish. I think that this is one of the most beautiful films of the last 25 years, and it has some performances and a story that are shocking to come from him. And
is that about a child killer?
Yeah. Throughout his life, Edward Bloom has always been a man of big appetites, enormous passions, and tall tales. It's not.
What am I thinking of?
For some reason, when you said that, I was thinking The Lovely Bones. Is that what you're thinking?
Maybe it is The Lovely Bones, but
that's Peter Jackson.
That's Peter Jackson. So I don't know what I was thinking.
Yeah, so Big Fish is beautiful. It's got some ridiculously good performances. Ewan McGregor, Albert Finney, Billy Crudup, Jessica Lange, Miley Cyrus at she's 6 years old in this. Danny DeVito plays a great part in it. And then the last one that I don't know if it's one of my top 3 favorites from him, but it's one that I think no one talks about enough, and I wanted to be able to share that Mars Attacks is still an incredibly fun film. It is very well made. It has such a stupid good cast that it should not have been able to be made. Mars Attacks is hilarious and also sort of terrifying when you look at the way that they made these aliens and how sadistic they are and just unflinching, and it's so perfectly the essence of Tim Burton that I love Mars Attacks, and I really hope that this gets a 4K release. I feel like it would look great in 4K.
Honestly, the special effects hold up extremely
surprisingly well, yeah.
Before we move on, do you want to highlight Jeremy's top 10 list?
Yeah, Jeremy Long. Go ahead.
I was going to say, if you guys have a top 10, post in the comments, and we'll tell you how bad your taste is. We got Charlie Kaufman, Edgar Wright, Quentin Tarantino, Coen Brothers, Paul Thomas Anderson, Wes Anderson. That's a mouthful. You say that 10 times fast. Spike Jonze, Noah Baumbach, Richard Linklater, Bong Joon-ho, and then later on he said Christopher. So that seems like that's a very safe list. Seems like a list for a guy who lives in Hollywood. You know what I mean?
It's a very Jeremy list, I will say that. And that's not meant as an insult. Jeremy is fantastic.
There's not enough people of color on that list, Jeremy.
There's not on mine either, probably. I got to be honest.
I have a lot of Asians, surprisingly to nobody. Yeah, Tim Burton, man, he's a director that I think played such an important role in all of our childhoods that doesn't get enough love now in 2022. Mars Attacks, I gotta say, The Girl, when I was a kid, gave me some confusing boner. I just watched it the other night with my friend and Flip's favorite, Angus Hobble. Good for you, Jeremy. Love that guy.
I think Tim Burton is where my perfect ideal for the big titty goth girlfriend came from, and I just want to thank him for that.
God bless you, Tim Burton. But Beetlejuice, man,
1993 or whatever that all started in me.
It's weird. So I was goth. I still am at heart. But every girl that was in the Tim Burton is still really in the Tim Burton. Like Tim Burton has ride or die.
Yep.
They're weird. But good. Stardust said he posted his top 4 above. Cannot find it. Here it is. Luke Benson. I'm not even going to try to pronounce.
Andres Wajda, Juan Kar-wai, and Pedro Almodovar.
That's a good list. See,
I
that's
just
a list.
got I just showed on my Patreon, but I got in. I don't know if you've seen it yet. There is a Pedro Almodovar collection that came out in the UK. Orbit's been getting it in sporadically, but only like one or two at a time. And it is a great box set of stuff that does not have blue releases here. I can't wait to dive into that. I think it's literally called the Almodovar collection.
I've never even heard of it.
You've never heard of Pedro Almodovar? Dude, so one, I want to make sure that I'm getting the title right before, but I believe we talked about it last year when I watched it around Halloween. He has a movie that is called The Skin I Live In. You remember talking about that yet? It's got Antonio Banderas.
Yeah.
I think that you would genuinely like it, and it's sort of billed as a body horror film, but it's not really horror at all. It's kind of like a psychological mindfuck, but it's great. His work is fantastic.
Someone says, wasn't he dating the girl who played the alien and the woman who played the mother of Sleepy Hollow? I'm guessing Tim Burton.
I mean, that makes sense, probably.
Sleepy Hollow was great.
Sleepy Hollow is so well done.
That's such an underrated movie.
Yep.
My number 8, and the final for tonight, is my first of a handful of Japanese directors. And we were talking about Takashi Miike. What I love about Miike is that you can have a trilogy that is somewhat serious, like the Black Society trilogy, with movies like Shinjuku Triad Society, great, Rainy Dog, and Ley Lines. And then you can get some over-the-top goofiness with the Dead or Alive trilogy, especially the final movie. It's crazy. And one of the best samurai movies ever was 13 Assassins. He is all over the place. The man has over 100 directing credits. And, of course, there's going to be some duds. But when he hits, he's firing on all cylinders. It's some of the best movies I've ever seen in my entire life. His version of Graveyards of Honor is great. He's got so many movies that are just stuck on DVD, too, that are just solid to great. I think he's very versatile. He's a lot of fun. Even the ones I don't like, I can say I had fun watching. He's just a solid director all around. What's your favorite of Miike?
I mean, I have not dived in the way that I really need to with Miike, but obviously, it's somebody that I know and respect. So much so that he's in the thumbnail tonight, and that's knowing that he means that much to you. And what I've seen is what I appreciate in a filmmaker. That's a good pull for me for you. When a couple of them were jokes, that's pretty damn good. I thought. I tend to lean towards horror, so Audition is probably up there. But I also got to admit, watching Ichi the Killer with my wife for the first time was one of the best experiences in the last couple of years.
What did she do?
She just the one scene would happen, and she's like, "Oh man, this is pretty hardcore." And then a couple minutes later, there's a guy suspended by hooks getting tortured, and she's like, "Oh god." So yeah, it's one of those. He's one of those directors that will always just keep you on your toes. And I wish I could go back and feel like I felt the first time I saw Audition, because it's such a special movie.
Very special movie. But I think it's one of those. It's weird because it's one of my least favorite movies. Just because the whole reason you watch it is for the shock and the twist, and then once it happens, it just loses its impact later on. Like if you do a second rewatch. Fu and Stendhal both mentioned First Love. Great movie. Taylor likes that movie quite a bit. Shockingly. It's such a fun movie. A nice little Yakuza film. I love the scene where they're jumping over the cop cars and it goes into an animation style. And then I'll never forget, we were on our honeymoon. And the trailer had dropped for Blade of the Immortal. And I literally watched it 100 times. I'm not kidding. Taylor was like, "Will you turn that the fuck off, please?" And I was like, "No, listen, listen how cool this looks. Look how cool this looks." And she's like, "Great, what did I get myself into?" Kobe, did you make it?
Did I hit a mountain? No.
Wow.
He says as a big horror or Kobe fan. Why did I say horror?
I'm a huge Kobe.
No, me too. That's why I said that. Yeah. I love Miike. I need to show my wife more Miike. That's for sure.
You should watch Blade Immortal because I think it's a fun movie. It's not a good adaptation, but it's a good movie. If that makes sense.
It does make sense, and I'm probably never going to touch the source material, so that's fine with me.
I have it right up here. Right. I don't know if you guys see
massive?
All 31 volumes of Blade of the Immortal. Perfect. Best story ever.
All right. My number 8, I guess. I've talked about horror quite a bit tonight, and as I go up in my list of directors, that will go away for the most part. So I wanted to make sure I got somebody that I think is shaping horror in the way that I appreciate, because a lot of newer directors in horror kind of just fucking suck. Obviously, you have great like Ari Aster, Robert Eggers, Jennifer Kent. They're all great. But at the same time, I didn't really want to include any of those because they've all only done like 2 or 3 projects. And
I didn't include Gareth Evans because he only has 3 movies, you know?
And this one, it even feels close to that because he's only done a handful of feature films and he's focused a lot on TV lately. But I think that Mike Flanagan is one of my favorite directors by a long shot. And this is one nobody pays any attention to because it was like his first real huge thing was Oculus. Well, first real huge thing that showed the Mike Flanagan style. And Oculus is a beautiful movie. And gosh, who is in this? I do not remember at the moment because it has been a while. Karen Gillan, that's the name. She is great in this. Really, really good performance. The way that they film in this house is shockingly good because it was such a low budget film at the time. Oculus has flown under the radar primarily because it came out around like Ouija and all the Paranormal Activity movies. It got lumped in with the shitty.
What's it about?
Oculus is Seeing is Deceiving in this disturbingly original horror flick that reflects heart-stopping terror as you've never imagined. It's been 10 years since the lives of siblings Tim and Kaylee Russell were shattered, and Tim was convicted of murdering their parents. Now released from a mental institution, Tim wants to move on, but his sister has other plans. Kaylee blames their childhood nightmare on the laser glass, or I think it's pronounced laser glass, an antique mirror with a grisly history. And she intends to destroy it by any means possible, even as the mysterious entity continues to cast sinister spells on anyone who gazes into it. And it's called Oculus. Obviously, it has to do with seeing. And with it being a mirror, there's a lot of stuff that can go onto it. And it goes into this supernatural sense of, curses and stuff like that. But it is done in a way that genuinely makes sense. And in the universe that they create is kind of like actually scary. It's pretty dang well done.
I'm gonna have to watch. That actually sounds good. I'm kind of in the mood for a horror movie. So,
well, speaking of ones that are great from him, that obviously this is a huge title, but I don't think Dr. Sleep gets the love that it should. The Shining is a classic, obviously, but Dr. Sleep, especially the director's cut, is amazing. It adds so much context to the theatrical cut that it propels it into, from like the Oculus level, really good horror movie to almost his TV Netflix version of one of these stories in a way where it's got his great exposition, it's got his shots throughout the entire thing, it's got his character development, which that is what propels him for me, is he grabs onto all of these characters and fleshes them out in a way that makes you just want to care about them. And that's what a lot of these movies are missing nowadays. That if it's a horror movie, you should care about them before they start to die. Otherwise, it's just people dying. I think Midnight Mass. Fu
Wait,
just
he's the
brought it up.
guy. He's the guy that did Midnight Mass. Okay,
Midnight
great.
Mass, The Haunting of Hill House, The Haunting of Bly Manor.
Okay, yep. Three
He
things that
he
Taylor and I have loved.
he also did Hush on Netflix.
Is that
The
the girl that's deaf?
Yes,
That's a good movie.
it is a good movie. And then the other one for Netflix that I wanted to talk about that blew me away because it was supposedly the unadaptable story from Stephen King. He straight killed Gerald's Game. This is one of the
I haven't
best
seen
Netflix
that.
originals ever. It is a psychological thriller about these two people that go away to rekindle their marriage. And Carla Gugino or Gugi, how I don't ever remember how to say her last name. She is, missing her old husband basically, and they go out to kind of spice things up. And dude takes a Viagra and has a heart attack on top of her, and she can't escape because she's handcuffed to the bed in a cabin in the middle of the forest and can't leave. And he is dead. So it is terrifying. It is done so well.
But how do you make that a movie? Like you just
because as somebody is stuck, there are lots of things that can happen to them, and she starts to hallucinate. There are lots of things that they can do to advance the story, and that was exactly the question. Is the story that's based off of is one that people thought you can never make this into an actual movie, and he came in, and it is very well made.
Huh. So does he actually die?
He does die. He's
Inside her?
He is not quite there, no, but he is on top of her. But yeah, it is a one woman movie, like Dave just said. It is great.
Huh. Yeah, Stardust is asking the questions I need to know answers. Did the stiff stay stiff?
I don't even know that he got that far. It happened very quickly for him. But like this dude ends up on the ground in this room after she finally wriggles free from under him, and he's in a pool of blood. And it advances in ways. I'm kind of being coy because if you're actually considering watching it, there's a lot of stuff that you don't think will happen that suddenly happens and is actually like very tense.
I'm gonna watch that.
It is great. And it's short too. It's like a 95 minute movie.
Poor guy didn't even get his nut.
Well, neither did she either. She's alive the whole time.
Dude, we don't care about women's orgasms. What's up with this? I'm kidding. The clit is real.
Let's bring Taylor in for that question.
Dude, she'll tell you I eat pussy like a maniac. I eat pussy like a fat kid at a buffet.
Anyways, so that's 10 through 8. And I don't know if it'll be next week. It'll either be next week or the week after that. We're going to be doing another 2 or 3. And as we get higher up on this list, we're probably going to want to gush a whole lot more. So we might even go down to like only 2 a week because it's going to get pretty intense.
Let's just say when I get to the top 3 Asians, I won't shut the fuck up.
Top 3 Asians.
Yeah. Because the top 3 are Asian people. They're all Asians.
We all guessed that.
Of different descents. So, I do want to talk about something. I want to talk about something because I finished the Chang Che book, and I got a book called These Fists Break Bricks, but it's on the top of the shelf, and it's massive, really cool book. Very informative. It's really cool. It's thousands of old school posters. But there's this weird thing that a lot of American critics associate to Chang Che is that he's gay because of all the men that he put in his movies. But those like Simon Abrams, like that fucking piece of shit. When you literally do any research at all. So what I found out, and I knew this, but I didn't know like to what extent, is that prior to Come Drink With Me, One Armed Swordsman, all this stuff, all wuxia movies starred women. Women would play men, dress up like men with fake beards, act like men. The action was very tame. It wasn't bloody. It was more theatrical. But these women actresses were so big, and they had their male counterparts, like the ones that, like the women that dressed up like men, the male version of these men, they had fan bases and fan clubs. This is how crazy people.
Right.
So there was a riot that broke out in China or Hong Kong, and it killed like 13 people. 90 something people were injured, and Shaw was still producing these light-hearted, no like blood, like the violence is very tame. And Chang Che said, "Hey, look, let me make a movie starring a real male actor, not a woman playing a man. Let's make it bloody. Let's make it real. Because people aren't gonna see the violence in the streets and then not believe that it's not okay to see it in a movie." Um, so they started this thing called the Wuxia Color Initiative. Come Drink with Me was the first one. A little bit bloody. I mean, have you ever seen that movie?
No.
So the opening of the movie is like, for the time, as bloody as Shaw got. It's not like terribly bloody, but there's action, there's blood, there's people dying, and then One Armed Swordsman comes along, and I think, and Come Drink with Me had a woman in the lead, but One Armed Swordsman was the first wuxia film to have a male lead that was bloody, and it blew up and took off. So he created his whole directing style as a counter, as like a counter initiative to like the woman based films. So it's not that he's secretly gay. He had mistresses and lovers. It was just literally he took what was normal and was like, "Fuck that, let's do the opposite," and created his own way with it. So
I love directors that are like that. Exactly.
yeah, and just crazy that he made a whole career out of it. 90 something movies later.
Yeah.
Died in 2000, I think, 2001. Yeah, not very good teeth, that guy. I've seen some pictures of his teeth. Very scary. Very scary. But yeah, I wanted to share that because I think that's a really interesting little tidbit of information. I didn't realize that the women, like the male version of the women, had like fan clubs. They were like awesome.
Right, right.
What is the hand scene in Gerald's Man?
Well, she is handcuffed to bedpost, and she has to get out of the handcuffs. And there is a sort of almost body horror part where she is trying to free herself, and it gets like, if you're an empath watching that, you start to really feel it. She goes all in on it, and it looks painful as shit.
Can't wait to watch it.
It is not a gory movie overall, really. It is just one of those. It's a Mike Flanagan film, and if you like Midnight Mass, if you like Haunting of Hill House, or any of the other movies he's done, it feels like those, and it's very well made.
Did you watch Lock and Key?
I don't think so.
So we watched the first season, and we both enjoyed it. We tried watching season 2 like a week ago or two, and we were like, we could not get past by how stupid over top.
I don't even know what it is.
Elements were.
I have to look it up.
It was pretty big on Netflix for a while, and I don't know if it's just like we were like in the right mind, right place when we watched the first season and enjoyed it, because there was fantastical elements in that, but this one seemed too silly.
Yeah, I don't know this one. It says, after their father is murdered under mysterious circumstances, the 3 Locke siblings and their mother move into their ancestral home, Key House, which they discover is full of magical keys that may be connected to their father's death. As the Locke children explore the different keys and their unique powers, a mysterious demon awakens and will stop at nothing to steal them. From Carlton Cuse and Meredith Averill, Lock and Key is a coming-of-age mystery about love, loss, and the unshakable bonds that define family.
It's written by Stephen King's son.
Could be.
The comic that's based.
That makes sense.
But yeah, first season we enjoyed it, and there are fantastical, silly elements. But it was like the first episode of the second season killed it for us.
Yep. Joe Hill is one of the writers, so yep, that's him.
Pooh says, how about that Top Gun Maverick? Are you excited for Top Gun?
I love the silence after that, because I could not possibly care any less about Top Gun.
What?
I can't stand the original film. I will not see this movie.
Why can't you stand the original?
It's not a good movie.
Are you kidding me?
Yep.
Tony Scott's Top Gun? You don't like... Oh, man. That's a good movie.
I mean, I should probably rewatch it. It's been quite some time, but
Is that Val Kilmer in that movie?
Yep.
Is he in the second one?
I feel like he was supposed to be, at least in some sense.
He's gonna be like the strong silent type. I really like Val Kilmer.
I miss him. I think that he is, obviously not going to be on the same level that he ever was, but I really hope that he gets some good recognition for what he's done.
Dude, his role in Heat, that was supposed to go to Keanu Reeves. I'm so glad they picked Val Kilmer.
Yep, he was great.
And Heat 2's right around the corner, man. So excited to see what happens to this character. Oh man, I'm so pumped.
I need to rewatch Heat. It's been a while. I need to show my wife Heat. She is not really, like, other than the Raid films and a few other things, she's never dove into some of these action things. Like, I really want to show her the original Point Break and see what she thinks. I love Point Break.
Definitely show her Heat. Michael Mann, what a run for a while. Thief, Manhunt, Heat, The Insider, Ali, just all great. And the only thing I would say about the Chris Rock Will Smith thing is that for a guy who played Muhammad Ali, you would think he'd be able to throw a better punch than that. You know what I mean? He couldn't even knock out a guy who was 4 inches shorter than him. 50 pounds lighter. Yeah. Yeah. So, but yeah, man, Michael Mann, what a run! And then I rewatched Black Hat recently. Not as bad as I remember. It's not like a bad movie. It's not a bad movie at all. It's just a fine movie from the guy who directed Heat and Collateral. How could I forget Collateral?
Collateral's great.
Collateral is, man, I wish that was a franchise. That's my favorite.
His masterpiece, of course, Miami Vice.
No, legitimately though,
the
Miami Vice movie is fucking great. It's an art house film. He made an art house film.
Yep.
And people did not expect that going in. I didn't expect it going in, but he made a fucking art house.
It is so stylish.
It's such a good movie, dude. Like, might be top 3 Michael Mann movies for me.
It's like great. That's how much. It's really well done.
The only thing I don't like that he's done recently is probably, besides Black Hat, probably Public Enemies a little.
I don't think I ever watched that one.
You haven't seen Public Enemies? His show, Tokyo Vice, is coming.
I'm looking up to see what he's done recently.
I think it's literally just Public Enemies, Black Hat, and then his show.
Jeez. Yeah. That is it. He hasn't done, I mean, technically nothing's been released since 2015 with Black Hat. That's crazy. Public Enemies, Miami Vice, Collateral, Ali, The Insider, Heat, Last of the Mohicans.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. That's a good movie, dude.
And then Manhunter, The Keep, Thief. Crazy.
Last of the Mohicans is fucking great. Michael Mann, I don't think he gets the recognition that he really deserves. Like, when people talk about, like, the great Hollywood directors, then, he's not really in the conversation. I think he should be.
That's true.
He's phenomenal. Maybe he'll be in my list. Who knows?
Got to switch something up now.
Love him. I'm going to have to start just gushed about Michael Mann for 10 minutes. But he's really good. I need to rewatch Heat again, even though I watched it like 4 weeks ago.
Stendhal says, I thought a lot of people hated the modern Miami Vice, but I enjoyed it. A lot of people did hate the modern Miami Vice. It is one that is very, very much shot down in terms of not just like reviews and critiques, but people that will just straight refuse to watch it because it's Miami Vice and they think that it's a laughingstock.
I think people went in thinking, oh, dumb action movie from Michael Mann, let's do it. And then what they got was the Tarkovsky of that show. Like for real. Like, I'm not even like being like I'm not even joking. It's a fucking art
Yep.
house movie. Younger Flip hated that movie, but I
Yep.
think people are starting to like get what it was supposed to be, and then now it's got this fan base. It's got like a cult following, and it
Absolutely.
absolutely. I want a 4K of that.
Oh yeah. I mean the colors in that, I could see that popping in
Oof.
HDR.
And who's in that? Is it? It's not Gong Li, is it?
No, I don't think so. That seems a little late for Gong Li.
Who's the Asian woman? It wasn't that late.
Oh, it is Gong Li. Damn,
It's
yeah.
Gong Li, yeah. Yep. That's what I thought. Yeah, she's great now.
And Naomi Harris,
Yep.
Justin Thoreau.
Yep, Gong Li.
Forgot he was in that. God, it's been a long time since I've seen this.
I need to watch the new James Bond. I think that's what that's my
You got to watch Gerald's Game.
Maybe I'll do a nice double feature. Gerald's Game and then No Time to Die. Or because he's got a lot of time. I mean, he died. He had 90 minutes to die. So, I am sad that Craig's not James Bond anymore. Like I'm like actually like pretty sad about it.
I don't care.
You're not a James Bond fan, are you?
Yeah.
I texted you this. James Bond and Zatoichi started in the same year, and
Which is
Zatoichi
crazy.
still has more movies than James Bond does. Oh man, I don't know. I like. I was going through, was it Wikipedia the other night, and just like looking at how fast they were cranking James Bond movies out like almost a year and a half
For a while, yeah.
for a while, and then was it like Casino Royale, Quantum of Solace was like 2 years, I think, and
Yep.
then which blows my mind that you can crank. Marvel does it, but like with how much that goes into this, it's crazy that you can crank out.
Yeah.
Didn't like No Time to Die. Huh. It seems very polarized.
It is, but I mean, now that his run is over, a lot of people are coming out and saying like Skyfall sucked, and some that
Yo,
everybody
give me a fucking break with that.
right stuff
Shut
that
up,
everybody's like, even though I don't like James Bond, this is a great movie, and now people are coming out of the woodwork saying, "Oh, it's shit, it was terrible." It's like, I mean,
Skyfall is legitimately maybe Roger Deakins' best work. Isn't that Roger
I mean, it's
Deakins?
pretty. Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. That fight scene where it's just like their shadows, they're on like a skyscraper, and it's just like gorgeous.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. Boo says, I thought No Time to Die was great, but play the action sequences a little bit too. I agree. When a Bond actor retires, his movies are usually trash for a while. Says Eric. Eric, my good friend, I miss you, buddy. Yeah, I mean, that's true. I remember Pierce Brosnan was the Bond, and then now, even I look back and I'm like, I'm not a big Pierce Brosnan fan. His movies were too cartoony.
Well,
you know what I mean?
And that's why, like, to be frank, they made the best video games.
That's true. Oh man, GoldenEye and the N64 with the homies. Oof, so much fun. So much fun. Not sure the decision to serialize the Craig films really worked, but liked Spectre No Time to Die more than I expected. See, here's the thing: is that like I didn't like Spectre because I didn't rewatch, like Skyfall before I saw Spectre, but now that I'm gonna rewatch Skyfall and Spectre and then No Time to Die. Maybe I'll like Spectre more than I did on the second one.
I mean, obviously, Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace are still amazing.
Casino Royale is awesome.
Yep.
Quantum of Solace.
Casino Royale is literally top tier Bond for sure, though.
I am worried though now that Amazon owns the property. I don't think do you think the next one we're gonna get like a theatrical release and like a physical release?
Yes, because they'll want to have it be up for awards.
I thought.
I mean, we also just got a streamer that got Best Picture. I think that's going to change a lot.
I love that Netflix has been trying for fucking ever, and then Apple comes in what, second year?
Yeah.
Hey, which honestly, No, that should not have. That should not. Do you think Coda is going to be looked at in 10 years as like a great movie?
I need to see it first.
Oh yeah, you haven't seen Coda.
Did
Good.
you start speaking quietly because it's a deaf film?
I was going to start doing this, but I thought that I know. We sadly she passed away, but we had a deaf customer, a woman and her daughter, and I purposely learned enough sign language to be able to like communicate with her, like ask like how she was and thank you. Um, one time I fucked up and I went like this to her because that's an Italian thing, and she thought it was funny. She laughed. She was very sweet. She was very sweet. She's sadly.
The only thing I could see Amazon doing is potentially not only doing a theatrical Bond, but then doing a Bond TV show.
On TV show could be good. Could be good. They need to. I'm a. I want them to keep this. I don't want to say serious because it is still kind of goofy and cartoony. But like, I like the serious tone of the Craig films quite a bit. Who's Riz Ahmed?
I could see it.
He's such a fucking. We do need a younger Bond, just like we need a younger president. We need to put an age limit on the presidency and James Bond. We don't need 70-year-olds in office, and we don't need 50-year-olds as James Bond.
That's true.
Now, if they do pick an older guy, Idris Elba, I would be completely okay with.
I don't think they will, though. They need somebody to do it for a good, 4 movies-ish.
So, like 12 years. Like 12. Yeah, I think Riz Ahmed is a fucking great Harry Styles. If Harry Styles bulked up, and I'm saying, and I'm being serious because a lot of people are gonna laugh at that, but like, or even Pattinson. Pattinson showed he can play a serious role, like a really good action hero with Batman. Just bulk up some more.
Yeah,
he could be a great Bond.
I don't know. I'm just not invested in Bond. I just don't care.
Now, how much Bond have you seen
though? I've seen very little pre-Brosnan Bond. Okay. I've probably seen 5 pre-Brosnan, and I mean, somebody mentioned earlier that Brosnan. There it is. Maximus said Brosnan Bond films don't age well at all. I honestly don't think any of the Bond films age well at all. Period.
Except for Craig's.
Right, and maybe in 10 years we even view them as not aging well, but I don't think we will. I think that those are going to be fairly timeless. But yeah, I think that it is not a story that appeals to me. I think it's something that is just not the character that I identify with it anyway.
Do you like stuff like Mission Impossible?
No, and it's not just spy stuff. Like, I think I know I like the Mission Impossible TV show more than the movies.
Is the show good?
It's cheesy now because of when it was made, but it was fun.
You're just not a big Tom Cruise fan.
No, I'm not.
That
would be an interesting one to do a top 3, bottom 3.
Bond?
No, Tom Cruise.
Oh man. Eyes Wide Shut. What a banger in your film career. A lot of directors' last movies are usually bad. Kubrick's last movie is fucking good. Kubrick, what a guy.
I wish we would get maybe one more out of him.
Nah. I think he abused his actors enough. Mission Impossible is my shit. Perfect. I completely agree, Phil. Completely agree. Perfect popcorn cinema. It's awesome. I think the last 4 Mission Impossibles have all been insanely good. So
I gotta admit, I've not seen all the recent Mission Impossibles, and I probably should.
You sure they're fun?
Not to mention, it's been a long time since I've seen the first 4.
to go back to Coda, I was asking. I was like, what are they gonna do if his speech goes up? Do they make the ground shake? His speech made me tear up a little bit. You know,
I gotta admit, I didn't watch it.
you didn't watch the Oscars?
No.
Not big. You know what's fucked up is actually what they what's fucked up is they didn't have Norm. They didn't have a couple other people in there. Oh well.
Yeah.
Viewership was up 57%. So, Mission Impossible, Fast Furious, Resident Evil are my movie crack. I'll watch any of them anytime. One of those is very sus.
One of those is very what?
Sus.
Resident Evil?
Resident Evil? Yeah. I like them too, but it's very... I haven't watched the Oceans movies in 15 years. I don't care about
Oscars,
Oceans
not
at all.
Oscars, not Oceans.
Oh. Now we watch them at the restaurant because we have a TV in the back. My mom cares about that shit, but I don't know why they do. They don't. My parents are like, "What's Power of the Dog? What's Coda? What's this?" I'm just glad Power of the Dog didn't. Or Don't Look Up. Could you imagine if Don't Look Up won? As someone who liked that movie, Fu would have had a fucking aneurysm.
I'm still shocked that stuff like that got nominated.
I watched his other movie, The Other Guys. I watched that this week. Underrated Will Ferrell movie. I think that might be my favorite. Just so fucking. Gators, bitches, best be wearing jimmies. John says the best part about the Mission Impossible, it's a fucking Brian De Palma film. Who would probably be number 2 on my top 10.
Not to give anything away, Brian De Palma was one of my top 2 honorable mentions on my top 10 list.
I actually looked at some Brian De Palma films and I was like, is he going to be on this list? And I was like, he's not Asian enough, so he got cut. Now I think you guys are going to be shocked by a couple of my picks. I really do. I think you guys are going to go, huh? Didn't know you were a fan of that. So, I've watched most of the past 20, 25 years of the Oscars. Don't have any of respect for the awards, but it's an excuse for a group of us to get. Yeah.
I made my list for our top 10, and I had 9 honorable mentions.
9?
Yes. It was so hard to narrow it down.
Who's your number 1?
That was close.
You almost did. You almost
did it.
Yeah, Steven Spielberg's number 2.
Jess Franco. Nope.
Where would Jess Franco crack your top 100?
No.
Wow. Now we should have Aaron Pinn on.
Fulci, however, would.
Fulci's on there?
Oh yeah.
Is he on your top 10?
No, God, I'm not gonna mention any that would spoil this.
Zack Snyder.
Fulci is one of my 9 honorable mentions.
Zack Snyder. Oh man, David Ayer for me. Release the Ayer cut. I want to see what that looks like. Did you see the picture of the Joker and the Ayer cut? Apparently,
no.
Google Joker Ayer cut and show the audience how even more cringeworthy it really it's. They toned down the cringiness for the theatrical release.
I don't even know which is which here. Okay. You can tell me which one to click on and I'll make it bigger. Is it that top left one?
No, it's the one right there. Yep.
Ugh.
Yep. Reveals ultimate look for Jared Leto. They went with that.
Yikes.
Honestly,
no thanks.
John Woo would unironically be in my top 10. Yeah. I think John Woo is in my top
10. No spoilers.
He's great. But if you want to go and wrap it up, I'm going to go watch Gerald's game.
Sure. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. It's been a good week. I honestly, I'm kind of excited to get into the next group of these directors. This is a good topic idea.
Yeah, thank you. I finally had a good idea. I said best slaps in movie history, and Ryan didn't respond to me, so I took that as a no.
I'm glad you read between those lines.
I was like, all right, fine, because I could actually come up with some good slaps, you know. Dude, Padre Pio keeps falling.
Hey, everybody. We'll see you next week. Thanks for hanging out. And, yeah, go watch a movie, huh?
Watch Lone Wolf and Cub. Actually, you know what? It keeps falling. It's fell 3 times now. Maybe I should go watch Lone Wolf and Cub. I don't know.
Sardis says, get back to the Shield.
Yeah, back to the Shield. Great show.
See you guys. Have a good